Hello everyone, today I will decided to assemble a Panther tank. This is another kit from China that I ordered not too long ago. Again, the cost of this kit was only $2, so I didn't expect great quality overall. However, I can say that I got a terrible model for this $2 either. Some kits are so good that well-known companies could learn from this Chinese manufacturer. To improve this tank I bought an additional part, but in the end I want to use it because the tank gun looks quite decent. I also bought some photo-etched parts, but they turned out to be not very good in terms of size, so I had to modify them. First I separated all the necessary parts from the sprues. At first glance everything looked quite decent. Yes, in some places the tank's body has large gaps, but this will be hidden in the process. For now, I decided to add a small detail to turret hatch, and of course to make additional holes that were somehow hidden. Then I started making additional protective screens that shield the tank track from fragments and other damage. To attach them, I decided to make a few holes and insert copper wire into these holes. Yes, it doesn't look very realistic, but I thought that a bit of handmade touch wouldn't hurt. The protective screens themselves, as you can see, I made from thick paper, and to make it look slightly damaged, I used my tweezers. I bent them a little bit and now the protective screens have a slightly worn look. This will give my tank a more combat-ready appearance and show it's indeed a battle machine. Now I need to glue these screens in place. For this I use super glue with a brush and my tweezers. After gluing I got this. I think it looked pretty good. So I repeated the same procedure for the other side of the tank model. And there is nothing additional to explain here. I did all the same work as I did on the previous one side. And I think all the sides looks good but needs some additional elements. Now I proceeded to additional detailing. The first step in this detailing was adding special loops that are missing on this model. Such small details give your model more realism and some charm, so I believe they shouldn't be skipped. And if you see that your model misses some detail like this, you need to pay attention on this. But be ready for a long and boring process. Another additional detail on the turret was these small holes, which I added on one of the hatch, which was on tank turret. Of course it's small improvement, but it will add some realism to the tank. Now I proceeded to remove the excess parts and install the photo-etched parts. Overall there were no major difficulties, except that the photo-etched was not quite the right size for this tank. Now I need to add damage to photo-etched mesh to show that the tank has been damaged here as well. I think this kind of damage is quite acceptable, and it gives our model some charm. I don't even know how many times I will already say this. I think now everything looks pretty good. Now it's time to assemble everything and use my additions made on 3D printer. But I think I need some tarp on this tank, because it adds some atmosphere to my theme. And this time I want to try working with the cheapest epoxy resin I could find. In my country it's called cold welding, and I managed to work with it using baby powder. Baby powder it is good tool, because it prevents this resin from sticking to your hand or another element, for example table or your mat. Of course it's far from green stuff or Tamiya products, which are good material, but even using this cheap material I managed to make something resembling tarpaulin. And after struggling to shape it, it finally started to behave more adequately. This is where I want to place most of the stowage. With tweezers I shape this material to my needs. The idea is that this tarpaulin was thrown onto the back of the tank, with various items piled on top. It will all look somewhat chaotic, because the tank fell while crossing a bridge. This is the idea for my future diorama. Therefore the items on the back of the tank should be scattered somewhat haphazardly. I decided to place the remaining pieces of tarpaulin on other parts of the tank. Since one of the protective screen came off, I decided to add a piece of tarpaulin there is to hide the ugly track on this model. In reality, the worst part on this tank model is the tracks. This is one of the reasons why I decided to add protective screen and some tarpaulin. After all this addition, as you can see, the model turned out like this. Now we finally can return to my 3D printed part. I have some MG ammunition boxes that I scattered randomly on the back of the tank. I also added a few jerry cans and used fishing line to create an imitation of towing cable. Then I realized that my protective screen were not attached to the tank in any way, and it looked unnatural. So to fix this problem, I cut small squares from thin plastic and placed them all over the side screen of the tank. And now assembling is finished. The assembly of the tank is complete, and this essentially ends today's video. I decided to separate the assembly of the model and its painting, since YouTube simply does not notice my channel due to poor video upload schedule. I hope you and YouTube like this option better. With that, I say goodbye to you and see you next weekend.